Hey everyone, how's it going? I hope you can hear me. This is I'm filming at a different location where I don't have my U-bass, so I'm using this Squire PJ combo bass. So it's got the P-bass pickups and the jazz bass pickup, and I'm playing it through a speaker that's not really meant to be an amp, but it is what it is. It works. So I'm gonna go ahead and play some songs for you and wait to see who comes on, and feel free to say hi in the comments or anything, and here we go. All right. So I know today I don't have my U-bass like normal. I've got, once again, this Squire Precision, and it's a jazz precision combo. So people usually call it a PJ combo bass because it's got 3 pickups total. If you play one of the short scale U-basses, you might recognize this style pickup right here. So we've got this, and then we've got that one back there. So you might recognize that. But yeah, it's kind of a fun bass to play. It's got a really good tone if you're looking at full scale basses instead of just U-basses. So it's a lot of fun to do some slap bass stuff on here. By the way, I wanted to let everybody know it is my birthday today. So thank you all for joining in on here, and I might do some, like, I guess, birthday themed things just to do something a little bit different. But yeah, I might also do some slap bass stuff just because this bass kind of lends itself to it. So I'll play a little bit more, but yeah, if you have any questions, just let me know, and just enjoy the stream otherwise. So yeah, this bass is a lot of fun to slap on. I made the mistake of coming somewhere and not bringing the U bass, but I have the full scale bass with me. So once again, Squier PJ combo. And I got this bass actually because when I played a gig one time, the other bass I was playing broke on the gig. Oh, hello. Welcome. So we got someone from Argentina here. That's awesome. Thank you for hanging out on here. Once again, today's my birthday, so I didn't have a whole lot planned. I would have done a live stream last week, but I also had a rehearsal that kind of got in the way with the time for this. So I'm kind of doing a birthday live stream, but really it's just kind of fun sometimes to like slap on this particular bass. So I'm doing a lot of slap bass stuff. Something fun for my birthday. So if you have any questions about this bass or any of the U basses that you see on my channel, let me know and I'll be happy to like answer those questions for you. And if there's something you'd like to hear that I can do without like a loop pedal, let me know and I can try to do something. Since it's my birthday, I'm going to be weird and play happy birthday for myself, I guess. So I'm going to do that right now. Yeah, so I can't remember the arrangement that I did on the U bass, but I could do like a little tapping thing. Okay, enough of that. I was gonna try to do something with it, but I don't think I can. Okay. So yeah, there are lots of different ways you can do that. What I was trying to do is play the melody with the higher part, and then do the roots of the chords with the low hand. So the song starts on the 5th, and so I was doing it in the key of F, but I kept forgetting what key I was in. That's kind of what was happening there. So basically, you play the root note F here, and then you play the melody notes, which is C, C, D, C, if we're doing it in the key of F. Then you go F, E, and then you play a C as the root note of the next chord. And then you go, so that's C, C, D, C, then G, F, and then you resolve this back to an F. And then you stay there with the left hand, and you go, you gotta go from a C down here to a C up there. Skip down to an A, G, A, F, and that's where I messed up before. D, D, that's over a B flat chord. And then you gotta go back up to a B flat up here. And and then so just a lot of little movement going on in that song. But I think I've done a U-bass version of that, so I can't remember what I did for that one. But that's kind of how I come up with the version. So like my left hand will play basically the bass line. Dun, 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 dun. And then my right hand will do the melody. And then you put them together. Putting them together just wasn't working so well there. All right. So anyway, I'm gonna do a little bit more slap bass stuff. I might play some things and just see if you guys recognize it. And if there's something that you want to hear, like a riff that you're curious about or something, I could play that. Okay, so you say, sorry, I don't speak English and I'm using a translator, but I suppose you said it's your birthday. Yes, I did say it was my birthday. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. So I might try to play a Victor Wooten thing. I haven't played this in a while, so we'll see how far I get on it. I might play it a little bit slower than normal. Play the rest because I don't have enough frets. But that's a little Victor Wooten just for kicks. All right. So now I'm just gonna play some other things and just see if y'all recognize them or not. How about this one? What was it? Wow, I can't remember anything today. So that's the risks of going live, is you trust your memory to remember things, and it doesn't always work. But let's see. If there's a bass line you'd like to hear, if I can do it from memory, I will try. Just let me know in the comments. And so I guess I'll just kind of like play some more things and kind of maybe explain what I'm doing after that. Have you guys ever tried to do something like that? Where basically you're doing a major scale on the E string. So I chose the G major scale. 3rd, 5th, 7th, 8th, 10th, 12th, 14th, and 15th frets. And then you can do a 10th up from there. So it's like a 3rd would be B, and then you take that up the octave. So I'm playing the B down here. So it's like a G here and a B there. So what you end up playing is 3rd fret on the E string and 4th fret on the G string. Those are called 10ths. Play those at the same time. And then that's what you would do if the chord was major. And then if you go to the next one, you're playing the 5th fret on the E string. That's an A note, and we're gonna reach down to the same fret on the G string, and you end up with, that ends up making your minor shape. So notice your major shape, it was like the fret, the original note from your major scale, and then over here we're 1 fret up all the way over on the G string. When you move it up, you stack them to do minor. The next one's a minor chord, so we'll stack those as well. The next one is major, so the finger comes up 1 fret from where the other note is. The next one's major as well. Next one's minor. Next one is diminished, but we can just go with the minor since we're just doing 2 notes. And then you're back here to major. Major, minor, minor, major, major, minor. Diminished, but we'll just call it minor. Back to major. So that's something you can kind of do. And then if you wanted to, you could like slap and pop to make it a little bit more interesting. So that's something kind of fun that you can do if you want to. But you can also skip around within the scale. So once you get these ideas of doing the tenths, kind of skip around. So I'm gonna try to make a melody out of that. Part at the end had nothing to do with it. But yeah, that's something you can kind of do. So you can take a concept, like just doing a major scale all the way up. Okay, then harmonizing it. Major, minor, minor, major, major, minor. Diminished, but it turns out looking just like the minor here. And then back to major. And then you can add a groove to it. Skip around. So that's just something you can kind of like mess around with if you want to. I'm going to recap it one more time, just because I know like not too many people were watching a second ago. So once again, that's just doing a major scale on the E string, right? And then harmonizing it. So knowing that your major shape, you'll basically add a note that's a fret up from that note if it's a major chord. And then if it's a minor chord, you'll just stack your other finger on the G string on the same fret. So the major shape, 3rd fret on the E string, 4th fret on the G string, and then if it happened to be minor instead, you would just stack them to where they're both on the same fret. Okay, so you do that, and then you play your major scale and add that in this order. So the first chord's major, second chord's minor, third chord's minor, fourth is major, fifth is major, sixth is minor, seventh is diminished, but we're gonna play it like minor since there's only 2 notes in here, and then back to major. So just kind of recapping what I just did, then adding a slap groove to it. And it's a lot of fun to do. You can just slide around all over the place. You don't have to hit the notes. You can hit the notes at the same time, or you can slap and pop the notes individually. And you can go in order or out of order. So here's what it sounds like in order. Right? Or you could do like all sorts of things different with the right hand variation. Do that kind of pattern, and that's what I was doing a minute ago. And then you can just kind of skip around once you know the major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, and then back to major. You can kind of just skip around those and just try not to miss any notes. As you can hear, every now and then I'll do one that was supposed to be a minor chord and I'll accidentally play it major. It just happens. But this is kind of a fun way to kind of come up with different ideas. Guitar players use this similar concept where they're strumming and they're muting the strings in between. A good example is like Collective Soul has a song called World I Know. They're muting the A string, but they're letting the D string ring out, and they're basically doing the same concept. What's that? That's a guitar version of this, so we're just basically applying this to bass. So in order. And then out of order, making a groove with it. So you can kind of have fun with that. It's a fun little thing to do. So if you're just joining me, I don't have the U bass today. I have this longer scale bass. It's not short scale at all. I'm not sure if it looks different on there, but it's a Squire P&J bass, so it's got both pickup settings. But right now I'm kind of just trying to turn down the low end as much as possible so that it doesn't overdrive the little speaker that I'm using, because this isn't a bass amp. It's basically just like a little portable speaker made by Harbinger. So it sounds all right, but it kind of overdrives if I have too much low end in it. So it's basically taken most of it out. But yeah, so once again, went over a little idea that you can do there. I'm still trying to get this blues course started. I haven't really done too much on it other than the live stream I made a little while ago. But I think it's a really good idea for every bass player to know some blues. So maybe I should cover some blues now. So if you're a bass player or a U bass player and you're interested in the blues, then maybe I can do a little recap right now of sort of what we did last time and what I would do in this course if I make one. So first thing that you need to know is what a 1-4-5 chord progression means. So if you don't already know a major scale, that would probably be a good place to start. I'm doing a C major scale, starting on the 8th fret on the E string. So if you don't know that, I'd recommend going to maybe my course and learning that. I'm going to cover it really, really quickly just so you get the idea, and then we'll derive our pattern basically of where to start our patterns within a 12-bar blues from there. And then after that, we'll play a song with that. Okay, So, or we'll apply patterns to it and move it around the changes. So first of all, you have a scale. Okay, so instead of saying, let's go over the frets of the scale first of all. I'm playing the 8th fret on the E string, my middle finger. Then I'm going to my pinky for the 10th fret. So I'm doing that 1 finger per fret kind of grid. So it ends up being 8th fret to 10th fret on the E string. Then we go down to the A string. It's 7th fret, 8th fret, 10th fret. So that's index finger, middle finger, and then pinky. And then on the D string, it's index, ring, pinky, or 7th fret, 9th fret, and 10th fret. So I'm going to say the fret numbers first. E string, 8th and 10th. A string, 7th, 8th, and 10th. And then the D string, 7th, 9th, and 10th. Okay, so we've got that. Now what I want you to do is to give each one of those like a number based on how they appear in the scale. So what this means is like, this is the first note of the scale. So I'm calling it 1 because it's the first note of the scale. This is the second note of the scale. So I'm calling it 2. Third note of the scale, fourth note of the scale, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. What's important to know about this scale is this particular one is C major, but if you start on a different note and do the same finger pattern, middle, pinky, go down to a string, index, middle, pinky, go to the next string, index, ring, pinky, then that'll work anywhere on the bass, off the E and the A string. Those are all major scales. Okay, so once you have the major scale, we give them notes in order. First note, second note, third note, fourth note, fifth note, sixth note, seventh note, eighth note. So in a blues progression, we're going to use 3 of those. We're going to use the 1, the 4, and the 5. So that's the first note of the scale, the 4th note of the scale, and the 5th note of the scale. And if you look at that, you've got the first note here. The 4th note is just underneath it. 1, 2, 3, 4. See, it's the same fret. It's just underneath it. And then the 5th, what we call them scale degrees. The 5th scale degree will be 2 frets up from that 4th note. So we end up with this little L shape. That's our 1, our 4, and our 5. So when we do the 12-bar blues, we have to start on one of those notes, right? So, so let's go through the 12-bar blues pattern. How long do you stay on the 1? How long do you stay on the 4? And how long do you stay on the 5? And what order do we go in? Do we return to some and then go back to others? The answer is yes. So this is the 12-bar blues. The first measure, you're just going to play the 1 chord. The second measure, the 1 chord again. Third measure, and 4th measure. So you're going to stay on the 1, the first note of the major scale, whatever key you're in, and you're going to play that for 4 measures. So usually a measure is 4 beats a piece. I'm going to play these as whole notes so you get the idea. So each one of these notes I'm hitting is a measure. So I'm going to count them. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's what happens over our 1 chord. And then next what we do, after doing the 1 chord for 4 measures, 4 bars, we're going to go to the 4 chord. So once again, that was just underneath the 1. We're going to play that for 2 measures. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to go back to the 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Then we're going to go to our 5 chords. That was 2 frets up from where our 4 was. Just go up to here. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're only playing it 1 time. Then go back to the 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to go back to our 1, which is just the same fret as the 4, just on the thicker string. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then at the end, there's variations that you can do. For the sake of this, let's go back to the 5 at the end. So I'm just going to play this whole pattern as whole notes. And I'm going to play through the whole thing. So this is the 12-bar blues in the key of C, and we're just going to make our pattern whole notes. So check this out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and the 4th 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to the 4 chord. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Now we're going back to the 1 chord. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. You ready for the 5 chord? 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then the 1 chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we'll end on the 5 chord. Okay? So So we've got that whole thing. I'm just gonna play it without saying all that stuff. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's the whole pattern, right? So that's our 12-bar blues if we were just playing one note for each measure. But most of the time, we're not just playing one note for each measure. So the next pattern that we could do, the next easiest one, is probably doing quarter notes. So that means we'll play every beat. So every time I was counting, we'll play a note for every single one of those and then go through those same changes again. So that'll be like this. 1, 2, 3, here we go. Second measure, third measure, fourth measure, now we're going to the 4 chord. Second measure, now we're going back. Now we're going to the 5. 1, 2, 3, now to the 4. 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, and then back to the 5. So that's our simplest thing. So then that doesn't get used a whole lot as just quarter notes like that. So the next step is we may want to add swing eighth notes to that. So this will sound like the ZZ Top song Tush if you did it in G major, which would be down here. But we're going to do it in the key of C just to get this idea across. So we're still in the same key. What I want you to do is you're going to play eight notes per measure, and you're going to play them as long, short, long, short, long, short, long, short. So they have that little like stagger kind of to them. Bum, 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 bum. You could think of it as like if you did a group of triplets, hitting the first note of the triplet and the third note. Triplet, 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 triplet. Or you can just think long, short, which is a little bit easier. And then you speed it up. Long, short, long, short, long, short, long, short. Third measure. The fourth measure, now we're going to the 4 chord. Back to the 1. To the 5. To the 4. To the 1. To the 5. And then we'd start over there. So that's kind of cool. We got that bump, 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 the swing notes. Now it's starting to sound like music instead of just a concept, right? So then the next, and you could argue this is the final step, but the next thing is like learning a bunch of different patterns that you can apply to this. So there are a lot of one measure patterns. Sometimes the patterns are a little bit longer, so it gets a little more confusing. But let's start with a one measure pattern. So basically, this is going to be like, we're just going to do quarter notes. We're going to play the 8th fret on the E string, jump up to the 10th fret on the G string, then go to the 8th fret on the G string, then go to the 10th fret on the, I was saying D string before, right? Let me say that again. So we got 8th fret on the E string, 10th fret on the D string, 8th fret on the D string, and 10th fret on the A string. So the most important thing is to get the geometry of this pattern, because we're going to move that whole pattern through the 12-bar blues. So basically what you're doing here is you're playing a note, then you're going over 2 strings and up 2 frets. So if we were on the 8th fret here, we're going to two strings thinner and then 2 frets up from there. So that'd be like the 10th fret from the 8th fret. If you just do the math, you can see that. Then we're going backwards 2 frets on the same string. Then we're going up 2 frets, but going to the string in the middle that we skipped over before. So if you think about it like that, you can see that it almost creates this like box. It's just we're missing this part of it. So we'll do that, and so this note, skip 2 strings, 2 frets, go backwards 2 frets on the same string, and then go to the string in the middle, up 2 frets from where you were. Now we'll take it around the whole changes. This is the 4 chord, back to the 1 chord, to the 5 chord, to the 4, to the 1, to the 5. So if you look at what my hand is doing, I'm starting the pattern in the place that if we go backwards into what we were learning, from the 12 bar blues, I'm either starting my pattern on my 1 chord, or I'm moving all of it, the whole entire pattern, up to the 4 chord, where the first note is now going to be on this string. So every other note moves that way a string too. Then when I go back, I come back to this and do the whole pattern. When I go to the 5 chord, I have to go start my pattern from up 2 frets and 1 string over. But the pattern, the shape of the pattern is the same. So this hand is doing the same thing, where it's skipping a string, going down 2 frets, going back up 2 frets, and playing the string in the middle. It's just when I'm just starting from different places, so it changes the strings and the frets that I'm playing on. But this hand is like a machine that's just doing this, and then I'm just moving it around to where the starting points were. Okay, so let's play that together. Once again, that's our pattern. Okay, so here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Move down. We go back. Okay, we go up 2 frets to the 5 chord, to the 4 chord, back to the 1, and then we end on the 5, and then the whole pattern would start over again at that point. So that's kind of how you approach the 12 bar blues. Then it's just a matter of like knowing what your patterns are, learning some exceptions to the rule. So so the exceptions are kind of like, you have your 12 bar blues. Normally you stay on the 1 chord for 4 bars. You go to the 4 chord for 2 bars. You go back to the 1 chord for 2 bars. You go to the 5 chord for 1 bar, sorry. Back to the 4, and then back to the 1 and up to the 5. But you could, at the end, instead of going back to the 5, you could just stay on the 1 for that last measure. So you just need to know these variations. Another one is, instead of staying on the 4 chord, instead of staying on the 1 chord at the beginning of the song for 4 measures, you could replace that second one with a different chord. So there are lots of little tricks like that that you can learn, but if you're just getting started on the blues, you really don't need to know the exceptions yet. You just need to know kind of how to approach it. So recapping everything we did a root, we learned a scale, okay? Then we took the first note of that scale, the 4th note of that scale, and the 5th note of that scale, and we called those our starting points for the 1 chord, the 4 chord, and the 5 chord in a 12 bar blues. And we played a whole note bass line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then we added notes. Right? Then from there, what we did was we added a pattern, but still moved it around that same 12 bar format. So you get the idea. So I'm just kind of like giving you that a little bit. So I know I went through that fast, but if you go back in the video, I covered all of that at a slower pace, so it all makes sense. So once you have all of that kind of figured out, oh, thank you, by the way, I appreciate that. Thank you, Christopher. And hello, what is it, Beta 1? Hello. Okay, so that being said, what do you do after that? So you've learned a root note, a root note bass line for the 12 bar blues. You've learned a pattern that you can add to that, and different patterns. So you have the 8th note, the swung 8th notes pattern, or some pattern that you apply to that. Well, you can learn a whole bunch of different patterns. I'm just gonna give you examples of patterns. Right, so that's a pattern. I played it 2 times in a row, but you could play that all the way around, the changes too. Sorry, I was trying to play it a little bit faster. But you kind of get the idea with that, hopefully, is that you're learning a pattern, applying it to that 12 bar change, and then some things that you could kind of go on from there is sometimes there are 2 measure patterns. So it's like it still has to fit in the 12 bars, but instead of like doing the pattern 4 times, there may only be enough space to do it 2 times. So let me give you like the classic example of that. Let's say we do a bass line that's all quarter notes that sounds like this. Well, the first measure was, and the second measure was, so that takes up 2 measures of the 1 chord. So let me play how you would do the 12 bar blues if you did that pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 chord. Second measure of the 1 chord. Third measure. Fourth measure. Now we're going to the 4th chord. So move that pattern down the string. Second measure of the 4 chord. Back to the 1 chord. Second measure. Okay. Then we don't have enough room to do the 5 chord 2 times, so we just do half the pattern. Then we go back to the 4 chord and do half the pattern. Then when we go back to the 1 chord, we start over where we do the entire pattern, and we don't go to the 5 chord this time, we just stay on the 1. So let me play all that together now that I've talked through it. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 chord, 1 chord, 5 chord, 4 chord, 1. And then that's it, you'd start over again. So hopefully that gives you like a little bit of idea of the blues. I think I already did this on the previous live stream, but I've got the blues on my mind. I'm kind of, I'm going through it like this because I want to make a blues course where I break down all the stuff that I just tried to go over in like, I don't know, 12 minutes just now. I'm trying to turn that into a whole course. So if it's confusing to you, that's because I'm trying to cram a lot of information into a very, very short amount of time, but I'm just practicing teaching it. So I'd love some feedback to hear if that made sense to you or if it was kind of tricky and hard to follow the way I was explaining it. But I think if I did a blues course, the first video might go over basically the idea of learning the scale and the idea of figuring out where our 1 chord, our 4 chord, and our 5 chord are, and then going over the 12 bar form. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So going over that whole thing, and then that might be it for that first one. It's just doing a root note bass line, and then from there, the next videos would be like, okay, now we're going to learn different styles. So if you do the swing 8th note thing, that's kind of a shuffle pattern. So if someone says to you, hey, this song is a shuffle in the key of G, you might play that swung 8th note feel regardless of what pattern you're playing on it. Or either way, you'd play that kind of swung 8th note feel. And then if you were doing a swing, if someone said play a swing blues, you might play that that style of bass line. And then I guess there's one thing we didn't cover just a minute ago, but basically the other part of this is just playing walk-ups here and there. So I have other videos on this, but like let's take the easy bass line. I'll just add the walk-ups. So what I did there was on the 4th measure of the form. So basically you're doing the 1 chord 4 times in a row. Well, instead of just playing whatever your pattern is, you could play the first note of the pattern, then go to this, then go basically up a whole step from there. So up 2 frets from there here, but I chose to play that note on a different string, but it's the same note. And then from there you just go in order without skipping a fret until you end up on the 4. Or so an easier way to think about it is our target note is going to be the 4 chord, right? So in this case it's the 8th fret on the A string. So we're going back 3 frets from there to do the last part of the walk up. So, and then when you do the other walk ups, it's the same thing. So if we're going from the 1 chord to the 5 chord, so this would be the 8th measure of the blues. You could do that. So 3rd, 4th. Back to the first one. Now we're gonna do a walk up here. But yeah, basically it's that same idea. And then there's some walk downs you could do too, but for the sake of time, I don't think I'm gonna cover those today. But hey, I wanna thank you guys for hanging out today. I hope you learned something. And if not, I hope you caught some of the stream where I'm just playing stuff and just enjoyed it anyway. But thanks for tuning in for my birthday live stream. I turned 36 today, so yeah. 36 years old. But I want to thank y'all for hanging out. I hope y'all are having a great day. And oh, thank you. Appreciate that. But yeah, thanks for spending part of your day with me. Hopefully this live stream taught you something, or if you're just reviewing the blues, that's cool. Back earlier in this stream before I did the blues, I went over another concept that's kind of fun. I've gone over it on the channel before, so you might have seen that if you've watched a lot of the videos. But if not, I hope you learned something. I hope you're having an excellent day, and I will see you guys next time. Have a good week, y'all. Bye.